Okay, so let's try solving x squared is less than 9. Okay, whenever you have a less than sign, I recommend you just really remember that it means between something and something. Between what? Take the square root. The square root of 9, yes, is 3, but also take the negative of that. So it will save you time to memorize that less than means between two numbers, whereas greater than means away with a gap. And we'll see this as we practice these problems. If you really want to mull about it, you really could sketch the graph. So for example, you could throw the 9 over and you would have x squared minus 9 is less than 0. Then you would have to sketch the graph minus 9, figure out the x-intercepts, which would be 3 or negative 3 by setting y equals 0. There's 0 here. And in terms of the actual graph, x squared minus 9, which is this graph here, when is the graph less than 0? The graph is less than 0 between here and here. You might want to step on this graph and crush it so it's flat, so you recognize that yes, indeed, it's between here and here. But this is a bit tedious and time consuming. So let's start to do this the faster way. Let's just focus on the greater than sign, or greater than or equals to sign. Right away, we simply take the square root, the square root of 4. We're interested in negative 2 versus 2. And because we're actually going to equal the endpoint, this is not a hollow circle, it's actually a solid circle. And we're going to go away from the middle. So one last time, if you really want to visualize this, you could throw the 4 over. We have a squared minus 4 is greater than or equals to 0. So y equals x squared minus 4, or a squared minus 4, same thing. If you really want to graph it, minus 4 would be down here. The parabola would curve up, and the x-intercepts would be 2 and negative 2. And the question here is, when is the parabola above the water? When is it greater or equals to the x-axis? And it's going to be true here. Step on this red line, and you realize that it goes only to the right or to the left, and there's a gap in the middle, which corresponds with this here. Only to the right and to the left with a gap in the middle. So let's try number 19 here. This here is our a value, x minus 2, and it's less than 1. So focus on the triple statement. X minus 2 is less than 1, greater than negative 1. You take the square root of 1, which is 1, and you take its negative version. And you simply add 2 to each part. So this becomes 1 is less than x is less than 3. And by the way, it's nice to work with this triple whammy if you get a very strange question like this. 2x minus 3 is greater than 2 is less than 5. So just make up some random question here. You're allowed to add 3 to each part. So this becomes 2x less than 8, and then you're allowed to divide both sides by 2. So this becomes 2.5, or 5 over 2, less than x is less than 4. And of course, if you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number, you should flip all the inequalities. So this is just for enrichment. Let's focus on the next problem here. We have the greater than sign, which means there's going to be a gap in the middle. Our new a value is here, x plus 1, and we're going to square root both sides. So the square root of 25 is 5. So we're going to say that our a value, x plus 1, is less than the square root of 25, less than the negative version of the square root of 25, which is negative 5, or that x plus 1 is greater than, and don't forget that equal sign, greater than equals to the square root of 25, which is 5. So in general, if you have a squared is greater than or equals to, say for example, 4, then you simply take the square root of 4, which is going to be 2, and you know that a is less than or equals to negative 2, or a is greater or equals to 2. So this is what we're doing here. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. You throw the 1 over. 5 minus 1 is 4. So there's a gap in the middle. Finally, for question number 21, we should throw this negative 1 over. X minus 3 squared is less than or equals to 5. Again, take the square root of both sides. And you know there's going to be a triple statement because we're talking about less than or equals to. So your a value, x minus 3, is in the middle of this triple statement. We're going to copy 5. And we must take its square root. Do not forget. And the negative version. We're going to add 3 to each part. And we have the domain. Okay, so now it's your turn. Good luck.